right, welcome to math class. We are going to begin Unit 2 today as we discussed in class earlier this week. You should have just finished up with the Unit 1 test. I'll be grading those and getting those in. Today's date is either September 4th or the 5th, and we are beginning Unit 2, which will be on exponents. Just to give you a reference, this is Chapter 8 in your online textbook. And so on Monday, we're going to do some learning how to use the online textbook that's available on your iPad, how to use extra features, how to get extra practice. But as I reference it, if you ever see anything 8s on papers, that's because it's coming out of Chapter 8. Today we're going to do the most basic lesson, which you're probably going to feel like you already know, which is awesome. I'm going to go over some important points from the lesson and expectations as we are beginning. Things I want you to know is that when we do bell work from here on out, not here on out, but from here on, you need to make sure you are on a new piece of paper. We will clean out our binders together soon. Don't clean them out until I lead you through that process. But your Unit 1 bell works will eventually get to be thrown away. And so you want a brand new piece of paper on any bell work. So Monday when you get here, there'll be a bell work just when you come in, and you'll want to start a brand new page. It'll say that on the screen as well, but maybe hearing it from me will help you remember. Make sure you get the correct date at the top of your notes. Get the title. The title is Exponents, and our unit number is 2-1. All right, I'm going to put this up here, and on your notes, I want you to fill in your notes with all of this info, and then I'm going to talk about it here. So just take and pause the video, write all that down, and then play it, and you're going to add some extra notes around it. Okay, so we are just reviewing the vocabulary around exponents. We want to make sure that we know that the big number is called the base, and the base tells you what you have, right? And the exponent tells me how many. And so all together, this is a power. To be a power, you have to have a base and an exponent. Okay, 5 is not the power. 5 is the exponent. 2 is the base. 2 to the 5th is a power. The exponent shows how many times. The base is what the factor is. In your homework, it's going to say, show the number as a, write your answer as repeated factors. This is what you're going to write when it says repeated factors. Okay, a power is a product of repeated factors, and then this is what you're going to get when you simplify. So again, there's our word of the year so far, simplify. Simplify means you're going to do the math. So if it says simplify this exponent, base, power problem, you're going to do the math. If it says write this as a product of factors, then you would have an answer like this. Okay, so write the expression using exponents. So we have a product of factors here that we are going to turn into a exponent or into a power. Now, on your paper, you should be writing example 1. Write the directions, write out the problem, and then you're going to write your answer underneath it. So we have 2 3 powers, so that's 3 to the 2nd, times 7 to the 3rd power. In number 2, we're going to have 5 to the 2nd power times x to the 2nd power times y. Now, when you get to this, and this would be a coefficient, and these would be variables, our finalized answer should be 5 squared, x squared, y. I would not need any of these dots in there because that's implied when they're written next to it. Okay? Here's what I want you to do. 3, 4, and 5. I want you to try those on your own. I want you to stop the video, write the problem, write your answer, and then play the video and see how you did. Okay, number 3 has to be 1/4 in parentheses to the 5th power. That is the only acceptable answer. This would not be acceptable because that would just be 1 to the 5th, which means you would have 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 over 4. Not working for us. Anytime you have a fraction, and I feel like anytime you have a decimal, so that the number's not confused, you should put that in parentheses, x to the 2nd. Number 5 would be 2 to the 4th times r squared times s, which would simplify to 2/4 r squared s. All right, evaluate. Evaluate the expression. Remember, evaluate means you're going to do the math. This could also be the direction simplify. And so the question of the day is, when you look at 6 and 7, I know you're loving that right now. When you look at 6 and 7, the question is, are these the same problem? Okay. When you're doing your work tonight, you're going to write out what this means. In number 6, I have -5 times -5 times -5 times -5. In number 7, I have the opposite of 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. In number 6, when there are parentheses, this is saying the base is -5. In 7, without the parentheses, the base is just 5. So the question of the day, is there a difference between problem 6 and problem 7? The answer most definitely is yes. Anytime you are going to have a negative base, you need to have your base in parentheses. If it's not in parentheses, that means the opposite. It does not mean -5. Okay? This would be read as the opposite of 5 to the 4th power. Now, if I go ahead and do this math, this would be 25, and this would be 25, and a negative times a negative is positive, so I would end up with positive 625. Now, this is still going to be 25 and 25, but this opposite is still going to be there. It's going to be the opposite of 625. This is about the time I get lots of kids who think, oh, so if it's in parentheses, it's positive. If it's not in parentheses, it's negative. That's not always the case because it all comes down to how many negative signs you have. So don't try to learn this in generalities. Always learn it as what is the base. Write out number 8, write out number 9, write the problem, and write out what the work would be. When you're doing your homework in your online textbook, this is what you will be writing on your paper. The problem, your work, -2 times -2 times -2, because the base for number 8 is -2. In number 9, you're going to have the opposite of 2 times 2 times 2. Then you're going to go back and simplify. That's going to give me a positive 4 times -2, -8. This one's going to give me 4 times 2, -8. So notice, just because it has parentheses doesn't mean it's positive. It just is changing what the base is. This one is negative because there are 3 negatives. This one is negative because there's only 1 negative. Remember, if you have an even number of negatives, then it will be positive, which is why back here, this one was positive because there were 4 negatives. So hopefully we understand the base in this one is -2, and the base here is 2. And I'm taking the opposite of what I get. This gets very tricky for people because some of you are very hesitant to pay attention to the negative signs and the parentheses. You just ignore them or act like they don't matter. They matter huge, okay? Evaluating the expression, remember that means you are going to simplify. You are going to find a value. So you're going to do all of this math here. This is going to bring back to order of operations. On your homework tonight, you have to do like, I don't know, 25 or 30 problems. But the first half is just write it with exponents. Tell me what 5 to the second means or something very simple. Not until you get to like problem 15 do you have to start showing work. And I'll explain that at the end. But when you get to the order of operation problems, you're going to write this on your paper. And then you're going to go through the order of operations. I'm going to do this here, and I'm going to have the opposite of 3 times 3 times 3. That's not 9. That's 27 divided by 27. Then I'm going to take negative 27 divided by positive 27, which would give me the absolute value of negative 1. My final answer should be positive 1. Working through the order of operations. Here I'm going to have 9 minus 2 to the third is 8 times 0.5. 9 minus 4, I'm going to be at 5. Make sure you don't do 9 minus 8 first. That would get you a much different answer. All right, evaluate. That means you're going to plug things in. And remember what we said earlier, whenever you're plugging in, use parentheses to plug in. It changes everything. This negative 3's got to go in here, so your work should be the opposite of 3, negative 3 cubed. Right? The problem. Right, your plug in, and then your work, negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. I hope you don't say 9. That's going to be negative 27. And it's negative because I had 3 negatives. If this had been x to the 4th, that answer would be positive because there would have been a negative times a negative times a negative times a negative. And number 13, you're going to take negative 10 and plug it in. That means you're going to have negative 10 squared. Negative 10 times negative 10 is positive 100. Positive 100. If you don't use parentheses and you write it like this, and you still write 100, you did the math wrong because this problem would be negative 100. And you might be like, oh, I got it right because I just remembered. The only way you should get positive 100 is if it's in those parentheses. Okay? Going to practice some basics of exponents for your assignment today. Tonight's assignment is an online textbook assignment. We talked about this in class on Monday. It's called the Lesson 8-1 Practice. It should be unlocked by the time you're getting to this in your class on Thursday or Friday. You got to show work on problems 15 to 30. So 1 to 15 you could just do on your iPad. You don't have to write anything down. But when you get to number 15, you need to get out some paper. You need to number 15, write the problem, and show your work. And number 16, write the problem, show your work. 17, following that expectation. Paper and screenshot of your work with your score from your online textbook is what needs to be submitted. This is a new thing, and this might be surprising to you. I wish I would have said it in class to everybody, but in the online textbook assignments, you only have to score a 70 or higher to get full credit. So do not spend hours trying to get a perfect score of 100. That is totally not necessary. Don't do it. If you have one that you miss, it's okay. I think there's 30 problems. You can miss probably 9 and still get full credit. I don't want you to be able to just go in and put random answers and say, I did my assignment and turn it in. But I also don't want you spending hours to get an A+. So if you get one wrong, keep moving, or maybe try to fix it real quick and be like, oh, that was a silly mistake. And then if you try it a second time and you have it wrong, move on. And once you get them all done, go back and count up how many you have wrong. And if you only have 3 wrong, submit it and be done, and we'll talk about those tomorrow. or the next time I see you. Every online textbook assignment, unless I tell you differently, will only need a 70% or higher for completion. Okay, so in class Tuesday and Wednesday, I showed you how to get here. This is where you turn it in. If you click on it right now, there will not be an assignment. Do not send me an email that says, I can't find the assignment. It's not there. The assignment is on your textbook, which is always over here on the left. You click on your big ideas, you do the assignment, you submit the assignment to Big Ideas, and it scores it for you, 70% or higher. You take a screenshot of that, screenshot a picture of your work. You're going to have at least 2 pictures. Right? If you write really big and use 2 pieces of paper for your homework, front and back, then you're going to have 3 pictures. Okay? So let's talk about what you're going to do here. When you log in, you're going to get to your assignment, open it. I think this is number 5, although I might have renumbered it. It might not be your number 5. It might be one of the first couple that you have. But just to show you what some of them are going to be, the power in repeated multiplication form is, so you're going to type 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. The value of the power, I hope you don't say 16, that's where you're going to multiply these out and get 16 times 16, which is a perfect square we've already learned, 200 and, I was going to say 256, but that could be wrong. Let me double check. 16 times 16, 1 and 6. No, I had it right. 256. That's what goes in here. Once you type your answers in, hit this check button right here, and it'll give you a little green check and a little green check. Okay, and again, if you get it wrong, see if you can find your mistake or mark it on your paper or in your head to come back to once you've got the whole thing tried. Okay, when you're done turning it in, you've turned it in. So when you do this assignment, somewhere up here, it's going to be like save and submit. And when you're done, you're going to hit the submit button, and that submits it to Big Ideas. It does not submit it to me. Okay? And then the assignment will no longer be in the to-do screen on your iPad. It'll be in the submitted. When you need to take a picture to turn in, the picture needs to have your account name in it. It needs to have the assignment name, which this is not yours, obviously. And it needs to have your score. I'm looking for 3 items in the picture. Your name, the assignment details, and the score. If all 3 of those aren't in there, like if you take a picture and just do this and send that to me, it's going to get 0 credit. That could be from anybody's iPad. Somebody could take one and share with the whole class. Be like, here you go, turn this in. Got to have your name with your assignment and your score. Now, if you're having trouble finding the assignment, until it's due, it will be in the to-do. If you don't get it done before the due date, it moves to overdue. So you could click there and find it, and if it's done, once you hit submit, it moves to submitted. Okay? Here's another example of a page you could turn in. So when you get done with an assignment, it gives you the details of your score. It tells you how long you spent on it. It will also break down every question. So if you didn't get 100, it would show you exactly which questions you missed, and we could talk about them the next day when I say, are there any questions? This has your name, has the assignment details, and has your score. Again, 3 items in your screenshot. You got to have your name, the assignment details. So I know it's not the same picture over and over and over. And it's got to have your score. That will be one picture. And then the second page or third or fourth will be your work paper. This would be a page that gets 0 out of 10. I don't know what the assignment is. I know you got 100. I don't know who you are. It's missing vital information. Make sure your screenshot has the items. I'll let you resubmit it if you turn it in wrong, but until you resubmit it, it will be a 0. Everybody got it? That concludes today's video. You should have notes that you took. Those are going to go in your notebook section of your binder. And then you're going to have an assignment, number 12. Okay, just to review, how do I get to assignment 12? This is just where you turn it in. This is how you get there. Go ahead and get started on that now. Make sure you have that done for class on Monday. Turn it in before class on Monday so that if you did not turn it in right, I can give you feedback and you can fix it. Look for feedback. If you get a 10 out of 10, you know you did it perfect. If you don't get a 10 out of 10, it'll tell you what you need to fix. Great job today. Hope you did awesome on the test. I'll have those graded soon.